Modifieds. Row number 1, car number 88, belongs to Tyler Luger out of Iron River, Wisconsin. Next to him, the 11 JR Andrew Inman from Hermantown.
In row number 2, the 13 of Chris Bredding out of Washburn, Wisconsin, alongside the 29G of Jake Gondik from Foxborough.
And in the third row, the 50 car of Brady Call out of Fort Francis, Ontario. Next to him, the 80 of Don Schaller out of Statesville, North Carolina. That's a long ways to come
All
from.
the way from North Carolina. In the fourth row, the 68K of Dan Kingsley out of Superior, Wisconsin, and the 51 of Dale Sumala Jr. out of Hermantown, Minnesota.
Some new faces, new names in this bunch as well. A lot more cars out here tonight, a lot of different cars as well.
It's exciting to see, especially a lot of these guys that can afford to travel so far. They've usually got good equipment and are pretty comfortable, experienced drivers. It's nice to see them give the local guys kind of a run for their money.
Certainly
on a track that they're definitely not so familiar with. Exactly.
North Carolina, I wonder where they're racing out there. What are the tracks like out east, I wonder.
Well, it's got a lot bigger following than it does up here, I can guarantee you that. However, they also have a lot of asphalt short tracks like this too, so there's kind of a bit of a rivalry between dirt drivers and asphalt drivers down in the southeast for sure.
As we wait here, these guys lined up, but Dale Somla Jr. looks like he's getting pushed by the tow truck, and before he even got started, he's going to have to stop. Now on his own, but not going very fast.
Yeah, he's picking up a little bit of speed coming down the front stretch. Join the rest of the contenders for heat number 3 of Midwest Modifieds.
Yeah, Somla Jr. came in 9th last week, so certainly a contender and one of the better racers here. We'll see if he gets things figured out as the rest of these guys are just rearing to go on the final heat number 3 of the Midwest Modifieds here at Amsoil Speedway. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Sarah Wheeler, joined alongside Chad Lyons. And this is the best night of weather we've had, still in some short sleeves out here, which is a treat with the sun going down. Going right now, though, the green flag here in heat number 3 of the Midwest Modifieds. These guys 8 laps and all before the feature race.
29G of Jake Gondik threading the needle through turn number 2 as they come down the backstretch between Chris Bredding and Andrew Inman. Hanging on to that lead, though, will be the 88 car of Tyler Luger with 7 laps to go.
Those guys off the bunch around turn number 1. Looked like Brady Call got super high. I can't imagine that was his plan.
It's a little tricky trying to figure out how the guys up here race, I'm sure, and what the good lines are. So we got a car around turn number 3. It looks like Jake Gondik.
Also the 51 there of Dale Somla Jr. And that's not good for either of those guys.
Gondik able to fire back up. Hopefully rejoin the fray. Tyler Luger entering turn number 3. Jake Gondik right behind him. It looks like he just cuts that low line, maybe a little too low, and the rear of the car gets out from underneath him, and around he goes. It's not something we see often out of Jake, but it is something that seems to catch just about everybody down in the bottom of turns 3 and 4. Bit of a slick spot on that side of the track, that end of the track.
I was visiting with Ed Stouffer earlier, who helps a lot with the track maintenance, and said that's where they see the most trouble too, and they're hoping to add some new clay actually to turns 3 and 4 and try and figure out whatever's been catching those guys, especially this year. It seems like that's the trouble area.
As uniform as the track may look as a spectator, it's a whole different story when you're out there riding, bouncing around in a race car. Jake Gondik rejoined the field. He'll start from the back with 7 laps to go when we get heat number 3 of Midwest Modified action underway.
I guess the good thing about a caution flag early on, Gondik still got a chance to make his way up towards the front of the pack.
Yeah, he doesn't have that many guys to shoot through, and he's got a very fast car. We're always mentioning his name as he usually tends to run right up in the front.
Up in the front for now. Tyler Lugar just picking up where he left off now. These guys go 7 laps remaining, 6 as they go by. after that caution flag. We'll see if they can finish the rest of the race cleanly. And if I'm not mistaken, that looks like the 68K car of Dan Kingsley, listed in heat number 3. This is heat number 3. Welcome to the party here. Kingsley won last week, actually, and so
fast car battling it out for the lead with Tyler Luger.
He started it in the 4th row, but moved his way to the front in a hurry. He's been towards the top of the podium in all 3 of the first races here at Amsoil Speedway, and he's in 1st right now as these guys go with just 5 laps remaining.
The 68K of Dan Kingsley holding strong through turns 1 and 2, racing down the backstretch with Tyler Luger behind him by about 2.5 car lengths, followed by Chris Bredding, and Jake Gondik made it back up into that 4th spot.
These guys still awfully bunched after that caution flag. Kind of anyone's race now. Kingsley doesn't think so, neither does Tyler Luger, but still a chance for a couple of these guys to move on up. As we look on now with just 3 laps remaining, this is the final heat of Midwest Modified, 3 heats in all. Of course, the winners, top finishers of this one will move on to tonight's feature, and that being the big show. Dan Kingsley way out in front of the rest of the crowd. In the 2nd spot, still Tyler Lugar.
Jake Gondik really trying to dig underneath the 13 car of Chris Bredding and get that 3rd place spot. Every spot counts when it comes to the feature, especially with as many Midwest mods as we have here tonight.
And there's the white flag, one more by. That's what that means. Dan Kingsley hoping to see the checkered flag this time around. Tyler Luger, 2nd spot, and that 3rd spot, 13 car of Chris Bredding, battling though pretty tightly with the number 29G of Jake Gondik as we take turns 3 and 4 here on the final lap. And yes, the checkered flag will belong to you, Mr. Kingsley. Dan Kingsley, the winner of heat number 3 of the Midwest Modifieds. 2nd spot belongs to the 88 car of Tyler Lugar, followed by 13, Chris Bredding. That wrapping up the 3rd and final heat of the Midwest Modified. Pretty smooth, Chad, all things considered.
Yeah, very smooth race overall. Jake Gondik got around there early, but was able to come back and be a competitor. You can kind of hear on the throttle as they go through turns 1 and 2. I wouldn't say they're driving very conservative, but I don't think they're really letting it all hang out. Want to make sure they don't twist up their cars and that they can get a good spot and make it into tonight's feature.
Coming up next, we'll have 3 heats for the Super Stocks. And as we see the Midwest Modifieds head to the pit, we wait for the Super Stocks. We'll take a quick break here, but we'll have more racing coming up next on the My 9 Sports Network.
Woo!